Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Xanassin Trophy for race 2 of 9 from Lake Maggiore West. We could be in for one hell of a race, but before we look at the qualifying order, let's take a look at the championship standings. Dave the Harp, after winning his race, first of the DGT League for him, tops the standings ahead of Demon R, Mandalorian, Steve F1, Tyler, Fluffy, Twilight, Bunsel, SGP, Formula Gary, Mitch, Groover, Rich Blues, Conrad, Jimmy, Jason and SRI. Those three at the bottom not having yet completed a race. Okay, let's take a look at how the grid is going to line up here at Lake Maggiore. And on pole position we have DGT League SGP, his first pole of the season, a whole half second ahead of Mitch, who joins him on the front row. Dave the Harp, row 2 alongside Steve F1, Demon R, row 3 alongside Twilight. On row 4 we've got Mandalorian and SRI, while on row 5 we've got Jason and Tyler. On row 6 we're going to see Fluffy Planet line up alongside Groover, while on row 7 we're going to have Bunsel and Formula Gary being the spy cam victim today. And then on row 8 we've got Rich Blues and Jimmy. It's time now to head over to the track for all of the action and the commentary team. And joining me on commentary today is James. James, do you reckon Dave the Harp can win another one?
Well, he's starting P3. But yeah, let's just see what happens.
So here we go then, the driver's ready. Lake Maggiore is ready for the DGT League drivers as the lights are about to go out, and away they go, and it's a good start from SGP. Dave the Harp's had a shocker, he's already being passed by Demon R.
Yeah, Steve F1 also had a bit of a shocker as well, so I don't think they put the traction control on just for the launch, and Mitch is trying to go around the outside. SGP, but he's copped it up, and here comes Demon R steaming in there, and he's currently almost alongside Dave the Harp, and that's from P4 is now, Steve F1 trying it round the outside of Demon R here.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Good luck. Mandalorian's there as well. Yeah, but Dave Hart got a little bit out of shape into turn 1, and Demon R was forced a little bit wide, but that compromised Demon R more than it did Dave Hart. Here comes Steve F1 having a look up the inside of Demon R. Mandalorian trying to go around the outside, and Demon R says, "Thank you very much, you two messed up, and I'll keep the position."
Oh, here comes Jason now. He's fighting with Mando in the background, and yeah, he's going to have to slot in as Tyler. Tyler there.
Tyler and Jason having a little bit of contact there. I think Tyler may have just tagged the back of Jason there, sent him a bit sideways, and Tyler ends up into the barrier. I could be wrong on that one, but that fight's going to, well, it's not going to continue. Jason will continue. Tyler's dead last. Fluffy, though, he's sitting in 7th place at the moment, which what I quickly mention as well. Steve F1, 10 minutes before this race, looked like he was not going to be able to get online because somebody had chopped his internet cable outside, but literally just before qualifying he manages to appear. So Dave Young trying to push him in.
I've got to say, I heard that he were out there with the bloke from BT with a gun to his head saying, "You better fix that wire."
Is that a gun in your pocket? Yes, it is. Fix that wire. SGP leading the way, pulling out a little bit of a gap on Mitch. Dave the Harp still there in 3rd as Steve F1 trying to close in on Demon R. Rich, though, coming under pressure. Rich in 7th place. Jason in 8th. And then behind him he's got is that Bunsel and Jimmy. Jimmy making his first appearance this championship.
Yeah, so Jimmy's just been tagged there, and that's just tagged into Bunsel. I think that might have been from Rich. I may be wrong. I may be completely wrong there. I think. Yeah, there is Rich, and I don't think it were. I think it may have been Groover.
It might have
possibly been Groover.
It might have been. It might not have been. Oh, it's Jason and Rich battling into the final sector. It's tricky to go side by side through here because if you're off the racing line, you lose a ton of time and you just get absolutely swamped, which is what's happening to Rich now as Groover trying to make the move up the inside through the final corner. But Rich is going to have a decent run on the racing line here. This is where Groover needs to make sure he gets his braking absolutely spot on. Rich going a little bit deeper on the brakes and going to try and go all the way around the outside. That's a lovely move from Rich.
It is, and there's SRI there in his blue livery. That's the first time he's racing in the championship as well, so good to see him on track.
Yeah, being a little bit. Who was that?
Jimmy, I think, turning in on Gary. Oh, there's still a bit of slapping going on in the background.
You know what, I think Jimmy may have just dipped a wheel on the grass on the exit of turn 2 and ended up slamming a little bit sideways. But yeah, easily done. Yeah, SRI making his first appearance, as you mentioned. Oh, Groover loses it all on his own, I think.
No, I think Bumsel went in there too hard, tapped the side of Groover, and then that took SRI with him.
Oh dear, disaster then. Jimmy and Formula Gary now side by side. Gary just ahead, actually, as Twilight. Is it Twilight? No, it's Mandalorian. Mandalorian's already made a pit stop. And he's gone for the early pit stop. And now he's got to try and get himself back through the pack. Is Demon On now going for the pits?
So Davey Arp almost went flying off in the final corner, and you do not want to be out there because there's a hell of a lot of marbles offline.
Steve F1 is bending. I can't believe it. He may be wishing he'd missed this race at the moment. He's now dropping places down to 6th. That's going to be massively costly because, as we mentioned last week, James, these tyres, if you don't look after them, all Demon R and coming out of the pits and Groover right next to him, yeah, if you don't look after these tyres when you've had enough, they're not nice.
No, indeed. So yeah, if you have a bit of a spin, you may as well pit because you've got all the grip of
hot butter.
Yeah, hot butter through a knife. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, here we go. Demon Art overtaking Groover on his fresh tyres. Well, I think they're fresh. Either that, or he's just topped up his fuel tank, and he's making his way through. Either way, he's in front, and Tyler very, very deep there, as SRI looks to be attacking Jimmy there.
Yeah, SRI going up the inside through the kink. Jimmy running a little bit wide. SRI's got that place done. Demon Art closing in on them quickly. Mandalorian, who has already pitted on at the end of lap 1, I believe, is up to 7th place at the moment, a couple of places ahead of Demon Art. SGP, though, he's continuing on, as is Mitch, as is Dave the Hart. With the fuel that we've got here, James, you can go quite far into this first in about 10 minutes in, but if people do pit before you, they get a massive undercut on you. We've got a battle going on here. Jimmy, Tyler and Groover down into turn 1, 3 wide won't work. We're looking at Demon R, I'm not sure why, but Tyler makes the move, I think.
Yeah, I think, it's one of them where when you go 3 wide into there, all it takes is a little bit of a slight touch. Always, we've got Demon R giving SRI a slight touch there, and it can all end in disaster.
It could, but it's not ended in disaster for Demon R. SRI has been hung out to dry a little bit, and now comes the rest of the field starting to swamp him. Here comes Tyler, Groover, Jimmy, and I think that's Twilight in there as well. Yes, it is. As they all go through. No, Twilight's gone a little bit deep, and not a lot Groover could do there unless actually Groover gave him a tap, and that's why Twilight ended up going deep.
Right, so can Demon Art pull away from Tyler and SRI, who are fighting like their lives depend on it? But yeah, like around this circuit, because this car does enjoy very high speed corners like the ones that we're going through right now. It's not exactly great at overtaking through them. You really need like a heavy braking zone like turn 1 to make a decent overtake, and also the hairpin at the opposite end. Yeah, going through side by side through fast corners, the only way you're going to get through is if you get the car in front out of position.
Exactly. So you can set somebody up, but it's not easy to make the move. So sometimes you may be more beneficial staying out like SGP, Mitch and Dave the Harp are, but I guess we'll find out if Mandalorian and Demon R have gone, they've gone a different direction, and we'll see if it works for them. Steve F1 has pitted as well after his off, as Jason is now all over the back of Fluffy. Fluffy's been struggling a little bit in this car, as I know a couple of people have been doing, but I suppose it's just like a woman is this car. It depends on how you treat her nice and she'll look after you. Throw her about a bit, she's not going to be staying with you for very long.
Yeah, if you ride it too hard, it might end up with a bit of a few bent panels and a few saggy seats.
Exactly. So Jason's still trying to pressure on to Fluffy at the moment, this for 4th place. None of the top 3 having pitted yet, but in goes Fluffy and in goes Jason. SRI coming under pressure now from Steve F1, so current champion pressuring one of the admins. But where's Demon R? Is that Demon R ahead of Tyler? Yes, it is.
So current running order, SGP P1, Mitch P2. SRI getting a little bit out of shape there into turn 1. Here comes Steve F1 up the inside, and that's easy pickings for him. But yeah, Dave the Arp in P3, and then there's a bit of a gap back to P4, which I think is currently Mandalorian.
No, it's not. No, actually, no, it's not. Mandalorian's in 9th. Mandalorian's pitted again.
Right.
4th is Demon R.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I wasn't expecting him to pit so early.
Neither was I.
Anyone would think I'd have insider knowledge and I might know what I did.
So if anybody ever gets offended by anything James says on commentary, don't, because he ain't got a clue what he's talking about.
No way.
I think SGP's headed to the pits. Yes, he is. So race leader in. Interestingly, just a little bit more fuel than Mitch had, but Mitch has followed him in, and I think David Harper's going to follow with them in as well. And this could now put Demon R into the lead of the race. Or will it? Because those drivers that were in the pits, they had a decent gap over 4th place. So let's see what's going to happen as Demon R is making his way down the start finish. I think SGP is on his way out of the pits already. Yes, he is. And there is Mitch. So the front two have managed to stay ahead of the pack. Dave the Harp's going to come out somewhere around about Steve F1, I believe. Maybe he might actually be further back. It is.
Right, so yeah, this worked out perfectly for SGP, pitted and coming out in front of everybody. Mitch is a bit under pressure from Demon R, but yeah, SGP is just laughing. Yeah,
he is. I mean, we've seen it in previous championships. If you could pit and get out ahead of the pack, you are in a brilliant position. What it does mean is that Demon R and Mandalorian, their strategies might not be working at the moment, as that Steve F1 making the move on Tyler into the banked hairpin. I must admit, I do love that corner. I'll tell you what though, James, something else I love. I've been seeing this evening. There's a famous actress in America that's been stabbed to death this evening.
What, you love that?
No, I love her. What's her name? Reese.
With a spoon?
No, with a fork.
What?
It was meant to be with a knife, but
she's been stabbed to death with a spoon.
No, a knife.
Oh.
You really haven't got a clue, have you?
What, just walk up?
Jason and Mandalorian having a crash.
Yeah,
we'll try.
I think he came out of absolutely nowhere there.
I think you
Dave the Arts just capitalised.
Should we try it again, shall we, James?
Do you want to?
Something else I love, right? There's an American actress I love. I think she's absolutely amazing. But I was hearing this evening that she's been stabbed to death. I can't remember what her name is though. It's Reese something.
Don't know what you mean.
Shit. You bellend. Don't know what you mean. It's clocked on now, isn't it? Mandalorian making the move on Gary.
Yeah, Gary just kind of moved out of the way there. I'm quite surprised there. He must have done a really poor exit. Either that or he's trying to do some fuel saving, but he's just dropping down the pack.
Maybe. I don't think he's had a lot of practice around here as well. He was celebrating his partner's new job over the weekend, so maybe a little bit too much celebrating, if you know what I mean.
Oh, aye, yeah. But here comes Jason now on the hunt, and he's got some fair pace round here today. Dave the Art, previous race winner at Monza, currently sitting in P7, and SGP though, right now looking in a class of 1.
Yeah, that he is. Mandalorian, Dave the Ark, Jason, Gary, Fluffy, trying to make the move around the outside of Gary. It can be done, but you've got to be so careful not to dip a wheel on the grass like Twilight did just then, because it's so easy to do that and then end up spinning out of control. Well, Mandalorian is kind of coming under all sorts of pressure here. He can't afford to get into a fight, given the multiple pit stop strategy that he's on at the moment. David Hart with the charge. I thought he was going to go for it there. He's opted not to.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go for that one as well. Running very, very close there. But yeah, Mandalorian just cannot seem to pull away from these guys. He just needs to try and focus and close in on Tyler, sitting in 5th place at the moment.
That he does. I mean, we're 12 minutes into the race at the moment. I'm just thinking, for SGP, Mitch and Dave the Harp, they may be able to get to the end making 2 more pit stops. No, 1 more pit stop. But I've got to say, the difference between Dave the Harp's pit exit and SGP and Mitch's pit exit massively different.
Yeah.
The effect that it's had, him losing that time in that first stint.
Yeah, indeed, because SGP now probably has gained an extra 5 seconds over Dave the Art just because Dave the Art's been stuck behind Mandalorian.
Yeah, absolutely. Or Fluffy dipping that wheel on the grass. Twilight did that last time around, but now Twilight's trying to pressure Fluffy. It's so easy to do, and that's where you do have to be careful, because that little bit of dirt on your tyres will carry with you all the way down to the hairpin here. So if you then try braking way too late, it can easily get sideways on you. Twilight making the move up the inside. Can he hold on to it? Oh, I think Fluffy tried to move towards the apex, but the car was there, and that's Twilight through. And I think Jason, Gary snuck through as well.
Yeah, Dave the Art just dipped a wheel on the gravel. He's putting under pressure from Jason, but we're having a little look at Fluffy behind, and he's moving about a hell of a lot. Must have eyes in the back of his head, that boy.
I'm saying nothing.
He's managed to get Twilight out of shape, but they're going to go 3 wide now, I think.
I think someone's... I think that was that Gary that just ended up in the barrier there.
Yeah, I think so. I think he went up the inside of Twilight there, and 3-1 just does not work. And definitely looking right now, Mitch. I was expecting Mitch to be able to pull away from Demon Eye in P3, but he's just not been able to.
Yeah, Mitch is holding on to that second place at the moment. I was expecting him to pull away, but the advantage for Demon R and Steve F1 is that they aren't involved in this at the moment. Mandalorian now is slowly starting to pull away from Dave the Art, maybe because Dave the Art has just dipped that wheel, as you mentioned. But yeah, I mean, for SGP, I mean, especially after the way last week's race went, where, I think he finished 10th place. That's not the way that he would have wanted to have started the championship, that's for certain. But I've got to say, taking pole position and leading the race from start to 15 minutes in is a pretty good way of setting the book straight. Yeah,
Mitch, is it just me or is Mitch actually starting to close in now on SGP?
You know what, I think he might be. SGP's heading to the pit. That's an early pit stop for his strategy. He's still got loads of fuel in the car.
You're just topping it up and trying to come out back in front of the pack.
You know what?
Just heading down the start-finish straight now.
If he comes out in front of it, I'd say you're absolutely spot on. And there he is. Yeah. He's coming out right in front of it. Ooh, just.
Yeah, just about. His Dave the Art might get through. Yeah, he has. So that might slightly compromise him, as Jason's now having a look. SGP just needs to get past Dave the Art and get going. If he gets stuck in this, he's doomed right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's at the pace to lead the race, so he needs to make the move on Dave at the hairpin, but Jason's trying to make the move on him. No, SGP's got the room. Yeah, so this is what SGP needs to do. Brand new tyres, make the most of them, make the move and get ahead. Now, pull away, leave Dave the Art to battle with everybody behind him. But Dave the Art's coming back at him around the outside, but that might not work for the tighter line here. Yeah, it hasn't. He's out of shape.
He's out of shape, and has that put him under pressure with Jason?
Yes, and Fluffy, and about 8 other people.
Yeah, so Jason's through. Dave the Art will not be happy with that, and Fluffy's having a look round his outside. Could it be worth Dave the Art just sticking on a new set of tyres, because right now he's getting swamped?
It could well be.
He just had a little bit of a wiggle there under brake, and I think he's heading for the pit lane.
Yes, he is. I'm not surprised with that, with the amount of places he was just plummeting there. You mentioned earlier that Mitch was not pulling away from Demon R, and you're right, Demon R is still there. Mitch, though, now leading the race. The gap between himself and SGP is not massive, but if Mitch was to pit now, he'd probably be coming out just into this pack, just into the leading cars of this pack.
Right, so right now we're looking at Jason. He's currently sitting P4. There's Fluffy in P5, SRI in P6. But yeah, I think right now Mitch is looking quite good, to be fair. He needs to try and keep this gap over SGP. If SGP can close back in on the front two, I think he's currently got about 5 or 6 seconds.
Bunsell, Jimmy, and I think it was Groover were 3 wide going up the hill there. Oh, and Mandalorian comes storming through him as well, and he's smashing Groover all over the place. He's put him into another planet.
Well, I don't know what happened there, and yeah, I'll have to have another look at that.
Oh, Mitch into the pits, but Demon are not. So Mitch has decided he's going to react to what SGP is doing, but that's going to put him into the pack. I don't know if reacting is the best decision. David Harper, who was just pitted, is now right behind Mandalorian as well. And there's Mitch coming out of the pits, and I mentioned he'd be right at the leading trio of cars of this pack, and he is behind SRI, who's got Jason in front of him. No, he's got Fluffy in front of him, but he's got Gary behind him and Tyler and Davey Harper. Mandalorian. Oh, Mitch trying to get a little bit feisty through turn 2.
He's managed to get in front of SRI, and that's what he needed. He did not want to be held up in that pack, and now he's at the front of it. Can he just pull away without any of these guys getting involved? But it's all getting pretty frantic in this midfield pack. And yeah, there is Dave the Art. Oh! He just hit David. Oh, he just hit Mando, and then ricocheted back into Tyler, sorry. So yeah, that's not good for Davey Arp.
I don't know if Davey Arp had a stroke then or something or what. All of a sudden he just speared right into Mandalorian. I don't think those two have got any history. I don't know, but that's disastrous for the both of them. They've both recently pitted, but that massively helps out Mitch. Do you know who else that massively helps out? Demon R, who hasn't pitted yet, because now the gap between Demon R and the pack is just that little bit bigger.
Yeah, the pack really starts behind Gary, really.
Bunsell into the pits.
Yeah, Bunsell's got into the pits. Mandalorian thought about going to the pit lane, but didn't. And yeah, it looks like Tyler's having a little look on Twilight, but Twilight, nice little move there, leaving room, but keeping him from. That's nice little bit of driving there.
Interestingly, Mitch is closing in on Gary, but he's not really pulling away from SRI. Steve F1, I was going to say Steve F1's in a little bit of a dodgy position at the moment, but if Mitch is net second, Steve F1's not bad where he is at the moment, because I'm pretty sure he's recently pitted, as Mitch is trying to make the move on Gary into the cambered hairpin. Maybe a little bit too much curb taken there. Gary gets go sideways on the exit curb, easily done. I think SRI, not a lot he could do other than tap the back of him.
Yeah, but that's just helped Mitch pull away, and now he can start focusing on closing the top few, as Tyler and Mandalorian are very, very close as they were in Monza. And yeah, Twilight trying it round the outside of Tyler, but I think he's going to be hung out to dry out there.
He might be. They all slot into single file for the moment, and to a degree that's the best thing to do, because is Mandalorian trying to have a look up the inside of Steve F1 and maybe using him a little bit of as a bumper. Oh no, I'm looking at potential 4 wide here into turn 1. That's not going to work.
Mandalorian trying it on SRI in front as well. I don't know if he's up the inside now into turn 2, and that, yeah, he's managed to get through there. Oh, SRI, where's he going?
I think he may have dipped a wheel on the grass, and a bit of a tank slapper for him. I must admit, I was expecting absolute carnage there into turn 1, and it didn't really happen. So yeah, not too bad, but I think Steve F1 may be foaming a little bit, getting done in the final corner like that. I mean, reigning champion shouldn't be getting done like that.
Alright, but you know, he did, so
yeah,
he'll have to get on with it, won't he?
Having said that as well, I mean, to be fair, he wasn't going to be in this race, as I mentioned earlier, so for him, anything that he can do, any points he can get in this race is a bonus.
It's a bonus, yeah definitely. But yeah, Mitch now closed back in on Fluffy. He's pulled away from the rest of the pack. He's got at least 2 or 3 seconds to the next car behind him, which is Gary. But yeah, and SR. Mandalorian getting all out of shape there. Steve F1 having a little look back at him.
Yeah, that he is. Jason. Mandalorian's massively wide. Big Tone. He's collected Dave the arm, and he's stuffed him into the pit lane. I know Dave.
Twilight were involved in that as well.
I know Dave used to burn his tyres, but he doesn't need involuntary pit stops now.
Oh, Mandalorian. He knows he completely screwed up in that final corner, and he's gone straight to the back of the pack.
That he has. In a way, I just hope that Dave the Arm was quick enough there to go new tyres, fill the tank up, because if he does, he can get to the end of the race. Fluffy coming under pressure from Mitch. Fluffy's gone to the inside. Mitch is going to have the outside, but he'd be better off doing a bit of a switchback, and yet that's what he's looking to do, getting the better exit if he can. But Fluffy's had a brilliant run through the corner.
Yeah, indeed, but Mitch now, can he take it round the outside? I don't think he can. He's going to have to slot in behind and wait for another opportunity, because right now I don't think Fluffy's going to be flustered.
No, I think you're right there. Thing is though, for Mitch, if he's going right now. He's on. Is he going to spin it? I don't know because we're looking at Demon R. Yes, he has spun it. Oh
the radar,
no!
He's spun. Yeah, he's just lost a few seconds there. And I think he's back in the pack.
Interestingly there though, James, Demon R pitted. He's got to fill the tank. SGP has followed him in and also filled the tank, but had already a 3/4 full tank. So SGP has actually done Demon R in the pit stops and come out. He's gone into the pits in second and he's come out in first.
Yeah, so that's just
that explains
smart thinking there.
It explains why he pitted earlier with a bit of fuel, well, plenty of fuel left in the tank. It was to have a very short stop right there, right then.
Yeah, so he's laughing even more now. Closest contender to him is Steve F1, but I don't think he can get to the end. The real contender to him is Demon R, and he's just managing to get past Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler not fighting that one too hard. He realises today that is not his battle. In the background though, we've got 2x2. That's Twilight, Jason, Bunsell and Jimmy making their way up the hill. Easy to get things wrong around this track as Jason seems to have ran a little bit wide and Bunsell now around the outside. Oh, and this is the thing we mentioned a little bit about this track. You get off the racing line and the amount of time you can lose is absolutely astronomical.
Yeah, SGP right now, I think he's got at least a 4-second buffer at Fluffy, who's heading into the pit lane, along with Steve F1. So, yeah, next fighter to hunt him down is Demon R in P2 now.
Yeah, that it is. Okay, so while I'm guessing the last round of pit stops are being done, that shakes things up a little bit. So Dave the Harp, who was put into the pits not of his own accord, has actually ended up in third place, which might not be too bad if he can get to the end of the race. Groover sitting in fourth place, also not a bad position, but I do think Groover needs to pit again. Jason pitted not long ago, so I think he can get to the end.
Yeah.
Which means Steve F1 and Mitch could be in a bit of a fight with Jason.
Yeah, indeed. So pretty much now, if you've pitted now, you can go full burn to the end. So I think it's more about who can, get your final pit stop done, and then just who's best at looking after tyres now to the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, around this track, you could go without changing your tyres on a couple of your pit stops, or as Tyler and Rich get very, very close together and fighting into the final sector. You can do a couple of stints on the same set of tyres, but if they go off too far, you're stuffed. I mean, sometimes it's worth taking that extra 6 seconds in the pit lane to benefit you over the course of a 15-minute stint. Steve F1 trying to make a move past Bunsell, can't do it. He's given Bunsell a bit of a bump draft.
Yeah, I think he's. I think obviously with having less time to really dial himself in with Steve F1, he's just not being as fluid as he normally is. Getting stuck behind Bunsell is not a place we normally see Steve F1 in.
Bunsell wider! I don't know, but Mitch is going somewhere even more special. I tell you what, I'm wondering if Mitch has lost his head since he had that little moment where he's ran wide. He's been off twice now, and he must be pretty much dead last.
That's devastating. Driver on a fight back is Mandalorian. He's currently behind Gary and Tyler. I think he's having a little look up the inside of Gary, but Gary's covered it off.
That he has. I think Gary's actually just lost a little bit of time there. Yeah, he's lost the place to Mandalorian, and also Rich Blues now starting to attack him, but Rich Blues deciding not to go for it into these final few corners. I'm just having a look. SGP has got an absolutely monstrous lead at the moment. It's got to be a good 7 seconds from Demon R. Tyler, though, he's now on the back of Bunsell, and I mean, to a degree, it might not be a bad idea to bump draft Bunsell down the straight and then go for the move into the corner, because what he can't afford to do is end up fighting too much and getting caught by Mandalorian. So, but Tyler does make the move, and Bunsell going a little bit safe has allowed Mandalorian through, but Tyler's cocked up the exit, and here comes Mandalorian.
Yeah, he's Mandalorian nearly mounting the back of Tyler there, but I don't think he'll like that. I think through there he opened up the corner so much that Bunsell run wide, and Mandalorian were like, thanks, I'll have a bit of that. And now he's having a little look. at Tyler, so he's managing to get back in front of this pack.
Mitch coming in hot there. Oh, that looked like way too much curb taking there, if I'm honest. Yeah, Mitch trying to fight back. I didn't see what was happening with Mandalorian and Tyler. Sorry, I just saw Mitch coming in like a steam train.
But yeah, I think the drivers up ahead. I think Davey Arp, I think he might still need to pit. So yeah, but unfortunately, if he pits and comes out behind all this lot, how many cars he got to get past?
15. Good luck. Bunsell all over the back of Twilight, Fluffy there as well. SRI also there, going to make it 3 wide. Are they down the main straight? This could get interesting. 2 wide ahead of them as well, and Groover's looking where to go behind them.
Yeah, indeed. The best thing really to do is just sit, watch where everybody goes, and then as soon as an opportunity opens up, just stick your nose in there. But yeah.
Ooh, that's alright, gone wide. That's what I think. That's what he did earlier. Bunsell has just clipped the curb as well, and he's been sent a little bit sideways. It's so easily done. I mean, I wouldn't say that these cars are fragile, because they're not. It's just if you do slightly the wrong thing at the wrong point, yeah, they're going to smash you.
Yeah, so his SGP absolutely loving life out in front. He's still got a fairly healthy gap of about 5 seconds back to Demon R.
That he has, as James yawns quietly.
Sorry, guys.
Dave the Arp still sitting in 3rd place. Usually it's me that's tired. Jason sitting in a decent position in 4th at the moment, with Steve F1 trying to close in on him in 5th, Mandalorian in 6th, Tyler 7th, and then we've got Mitch in 8th, Formula Gary, Twilight 9th, David Harp in the pits, so he couldn't get to the end. He's got another 10 minutes to go. He wouldn't necessarily need to fill the tank on that one.
I think it's going to be a disaster if he comes out behind all this lot.
Yeah, if he's been able to work out how much fuel to put in without just filling the tank, oh no, he's going to come out in front. Yeah, he's right behind a lot of them.
That's disaster. Yeah, I mean, luckily for him, he's managed to sort out his tyre problems, but pitting so late, that's just devastating for him, because there's no way. Well, he'd have to be absolutely on another level to get past everybody.
Yeah, to have any chance of getting anywhere near the 3rd place that he was in. Yeah, definitely. I mean, SGP, Demon R, they're all on their own at the moment. They've got no worries. Jason is slowly being caught by Steve F1. So Steve F1 recovering quite nicely. And Mandalorian is not quite broken away from the pack again, as Fluffy's in the wall.
Yeah. Dave the Arp. So now with Fluffy being in the wall, that's him up to 11th. Next car up ahead is Groover, taking a hell of a lot of curb there. Will not be doing his tyres any good getting on that dirt.
Oh, Gary's ran wide.
Oh, Dave the Arp up the inside of Groover, but Groover's trying to have a little look. Oh, he's going to need a new pair of underpants there, Dave the Arp. He had to back out of that because Groover were already focused on Gary in front. But yeah, SGP, every time I look at him, he looks like he's just in slow motion, but
yeah, he is most of the time, but people think that's normality. Alone. Is it me you're looking for?
Oh, I thought you were trying to say that he'd had a stroke or something.
Nah, if I said that, his missus would kill me. What's he been watching to have a stroke? So yeah, Mandalorian, I was saying, hasn't quite managed to break away from the pack yet, which he hasn't, but he's got just enough of a gap that as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he may be able to start creeping towards Steve F1. Steve F1 is getting ever so close to Jason now, though. Tyler's coming under a lot of pressure from Mitch, but Mitch has got to make sure that he hasn't lost his head. He's running wide, though, and so that's a sign that he may have done, because he will be kicking himself. He will know he's had a damn good chance of a 2nd place here. Oh, Steve F1! Yeah. Steve F1 going wide! We saw Mandalorian do that earlier, but Steve F1 covers it calmly.
Yeah, I think Steve F1 did the smart thing there and just lifted off the throttle once he went on the grass, whereas Mandalorian, being impatient like he is, just absolutely booted it, and around she went earlier. But currently he's got about a 3 or 4 second gap to Mandalorian and Steve F1, and SGP, I think he's still got an easy. Well, I think he's opening up the gap right now. I think that might be about a 6 second gap.
You could be Right, you know, the gap between Jason and Steve F1 has opened up because of Steve F1 running wide, but Steve F1, he'll know he's got to look after the tyres for a little bit. You go off wide like that, you've got to be careful for at least a few corners. Holy cow, who's that, SRI? And Jimmy, I think.
It's Groover in there.
Yeah, it is Groover.
There they have an SRI getting exchanging pleasantries there, as Mitch has just been done there by Tyler. But Tyler's used that inside line, which is so much quicker. But if you hit that inside curb, yeah, it can bounce you across the track, as we saw earlier with Mandalorian. But yeah, Mitch, I think he just needs to try and calm his head down and just go for it again, rather than getting flustered.
I mean, sometimes, like that, yeah. Oh, Bunsell in the background, I think, with SRI side by side. So Gary now having a look at Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp's going to need to. Oh yeah, Gary's backed out of that one. I mean, he was close enough to have a go, but I think he's decided, you know what, I'm going to play it a little bit safer, and there's no wrong with that. It's actually a pretty good thing to do, and hope that the car ahead makes a mistake. And on this occasion, Dave hasn't. But here comes Groover and SRI. Dave the Harp's now made the mistake on the exit of the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell when people are on that grass out there. All it means is somebody's gone off, but all it means is somebody's accelerated probably 5 or 10 metres too early. As Groover's now up the inside of Gary, and almost up the inside of Davey Arp. And Davey Arp said, "You want to turn in there?" And we're both going off, mate.
Mitch still fighting with Tyler. Somebody went off over the brow of the hill. I can't tell exactly who it was, but I did see the dust cloud. Just want to mention as well that it would appear that first and second, SGP and Demon Art, have basically settled into the positions they are in. So I don't think Demon Art is trying to catch SGP. Jason sitting in third place, still coming under pressure, but Tyler is doing well to fend off Mitch here.
Yeah, I think he's just completely not even looking in his mirror, just focusing on the job he needs to do, and that's just absolutely hitting every apex and making sure every traction zone is spot on, and then Mitch will not be able to have a look. But he's gone a bit deep there into turn 1, could compromise him through turn 2 and 3.
They could, but sadly we can't see him. I don't know who was doing the directing on this one. Come on, we want to see the action, guys. We don't need to see those two old fogies cruising around on a Sunday afternoon. So Jason...
I think the gap between Jason and Steve F1's come down slightly, maybe by a second. Mandalorian's been able to pull a little bit away from Tyler and Mitch, who's trying it around the outside, going for a switchback.
The difficulty for Mitch here is that if he doesn't get the overtake done, it's just going to cost each other. They're going to cost each other so much time. They're going to get caught by the pack. But Mitch has made the move. There's a great battle between the two of those, but I don't think Tyler is going to be giving that one up all too soon. Dave the Harper's made the move on Groover recently, and he's all over the back of Twilight now as well. So there he is, and he'll want to get past Twilight if he can. Tyler's struggling a little bit now on the dirty air and the dirty tyres.
Yeah, once you get in that dirty air and you're not used to it, it can affect you. If you've been running with no dirty air for a few laps, it can take a while to adjust, as I think Groover and Bunsell are moving about in the background.
Yeah, Groover Dave's gone wide. Yeah, and Groover snuck around the outside of it, and beautifully opportunistic from Groover there. Dave York's running a little bit deep. I mean, he survived it well, to be fair. Oh, Fluffy, where you come from?
Where you going? But yeah, having a little look back now on Groover, as SRI is still all over the shop in the background with Fluffy.
Let's start trying to have a look. Groover making the move up the inside on Dave the Harp. It is, but he has made the move, and he's got ahead as they make their way into the fast S's. Oh, Dave the Harp all out of shape on the curb, and I think he may have just tagged Groover in that as well. And here comes the pack now. That split second of a mistake there from Dave the Harp could be costly for the both of them.
Definitely, but yeah, some of them curbs, you can just see there that a lot of these curbs are nice and you can run over them, but some of them want to just spit you off if you take them at a slightly wrong angle, as Fluffy lights up the rear tyres around the final corner. That will be give him a decent run, but Groover needs to have a look in his mirrors. needs to use his eyeballs as he heads down towards turn 1 because there's a car there.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a case of I'm going to pull out and overtake this guy. Holy crap, there's a car next to me. But I mean, at least once he'd noticed it.
But you haven't noticed there that Fluffy were at side of him once again, didn't leave a car's width. So yeah, Groover really needs to make sure he's got his radar on and he's giving space.
It's not easy to look sideways and look forwards at the same time, though, as we know, as this battle is still heating up. David Hart coming under pressure from Fluffy, from Groover, from Bunsell, from Rich Blues and Twilight. David Hart all over the curb. Too much curb there. I think that's going to compromise him.
I think he went on the curb just to try and avoid Twilight because he'd gone in too deep. But Mandalorian closing in now on Steve F1. That gap's massively come down.
Yeah, Steve F1 is also closing in on Jason. I'm wondering if Jason pitted way before these two. I'm wondering if Jason may be struggling a little bit on the fuel economy, which is not what he's going to want to have to deal with while he's got these two catching him up. After Mandalorian, Mitch is not far away from closing in on that battle as well. And then we've got a bit of a gap down to the pack, which Tyler is currently heading with Twilight.
Yeah, so right now, the top two are absolutely gone. The SGP's already at the hairpin at the other end of the circuit, so yeah, he's loving it. Demon are about 5 seconds behind him, and then another 8 seconds back to Jason in P3. And there is Tyler with Twilight all over the back room now.
Yeah, Dave Harp in the background as well, coming under pressure once again from Bunsell and Groover. Twilight making the move on Tyler. Can he get it done into the hairpin? We know it can be done. Dave Harp! He was a bit too late on the brakes
Tyler there. He's going to have to give that place back because that were quite clearly not planned.
Look how close this has got now. Jason must be fuel saving. Either that or he's had a problem. I don't know whether he's lost a gear or lost an eyeball or what. I don't know, but he's definitely losing time. Steve F1, he's got Mandalorian right up his gearbox. Yeah,
I think Steve F1 himself there just kind of settled into a normal pace. Jason, really, really tight line there through turn 1. That might compromise him down the start-finish straight.
You know what, James? I think these guys are now starting their last lap of the race as Steve F1 is trying to make the move on Jason. Jason goes deep, holds on to the place. There's a nice bit of fight in there. Steve F1 has got the inside. Mandalorian's got the inside. Steve F1 a bit of contact with Jason. I don't know what's happened there. Jason's now going slow. And not, is he?
He's just tagged with Mitch. Oh no, he's got on the grass.
You don't want to be doing that. Oh no. Look at this.
Pretty much saying goodbye to all your positions because you got to wait for everybody to go past on the last lap. Could that be any worse? SGP needed that. SGP were completely had pretty much similar race at Monza. He's come back and he's won this one, and really the best thing he wanted to see was Steve F1 have a poor race.
Definitely. So SGP is going to take the victory here at Lake Maggiore. It's a brilliant result for him. Demon R somehow is going to be crossing the line in second place as he makes his way down the hill. For Jason though, lucky in a way, I think he's still got to keep going though because he's got Mandalorian right up his gearbox.
Yeah,
and not only that, Mitch is there. Mitch is wide. He's wide.
Yeah. But Jason manages to get P3 Mandalorian, P4 Mitch, P5 as they go for a bit of a spinning as Twilight, Tyler, Bunsell,
SRI, Rich Blues, Steve F1, 12th place.
That is poor, and no offence to Steve F1.
Gary's in the pit. Is Gary in the pits?
Gary's in the pit, and Fluffy's, he must have had some form of problem on the final lap there because he's really he's foaming. He's coming round and he doesn't look very happy.
He definitely does not. So it is going to be 16th place for Fluffy, and you know what? Unfortunately for Fluffy, if it is 16th place he's going to be holding on to, I think it'll be the first time we've had a 16th place finisher. And do you know what that means, James?
No.
16th doesn't score a point.
It's
points down to 15th, and 16th is 0 points. I personally think it's extremely cruel, Fluffy. I feel for you. I even tried to go to change it, but they wouldn't have it. Disaster for Fluffy. But got to say though, SGP taking the victory, untouchable today.
Oh yeah, on another level definitely. But he needed to be after the race he had at Monza round 1, he needed to come back and dominate, just to show everybody, look, don't count me out. Not only that, he couldn't have asked for, he fought tooth and nail with Steve F1 for the last championship. And really, even though he knows that Demon R is always going to be a contender, he knows that Steve F1's on a bit of a high after being the current champion. So really needed to put a bit of a dent back in Steve F1, and I think Steve F1 even getting back on track were a bit of a miracle for him, and unfortunately on the last lap there, it all just unravelled for him.
Yeah, that it did. I mean, something I was trying to say during the race was sometimes racing is racing, and you just have to accept what position you finish in, rather than trying to force finishing in a higher position. I mean, for example, Demon R, could he have pushed to try and catch Alpes GP? Maybe. But what's the risk? Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, even Demon R, I know because I talk to him a lot. He phones me up at stupid times. Yeah.
I thought you two weren't on speaking terms.
Well, he texts me, you see. But this is a track that he's got bad memories of, because he has spun it in the latter stages of a race here, pushing to catch up the leader. So this time, he's not going to do that. And sometimes you have to do that. Even when you're in a bit of a pack, it's quite often better to go, you know what, let's keep everything calm, everything sensible, rather than going for attacking all over the place. Because there's no point going for an overtake if you then lose 3 places. If you're going to go for an overtake, make it stick. Or at least make it so that the other person is coming under so much pressure that any attempt or dummy you do makes them look in their mirrors, makes them make the mistakes, and that's where it can come from. Because the difference is, when you've got someone like SGP today who had nothing to fear, he's gone, he's disappeared. And similar with Mitch in that early stint, he had nothing to fear, he was gone. Even Dave the Harp in the early stages was similar. He more than comfortable, but once things started getting a little bit fighty and frantic and feisty, that's when those little errors can creep in. I mean, sometimes you get punted into the pits and there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes those situations do just happen, but that's just the way racing is sometimes. Yeah,
indeed. But yeah, absolutely. Fantastic bit of racing there, and once again shown that them cars have definitely loved them high speed corners. And the only area where we saw massive mistakes going on were really in the tricky tight section of sector 1, which is turn 1, 2 and 3. And that section created a lot of action. So we know if we've got any more circuits with tight corners and tricky braking zones, that's the area that we need to be looking out for, and that's the area where people are going to make up most time when they're practicing, is them tight, twisty corners. With the high-speed corners, you're not really going to find much time through there. It's
the slow ones.
Yeah, it's the slow corners where on this car, that's where you're going to find time.
Exactly. Now, in a moment, I will mention what track we're at to next, but at this point, I will mention that once again, we'll show our feature of the drivers' post-race comments, and they'll be coming up on the screen now. We can't see them, so we're not going to read them. We don't know what they say.
Oh, I got a post-race. I've got to say, sorry. I've got to say that this is a post-video comment from last week. I were halfway through reading them, and they were going off the screen, so I was like, what's that? I don't know.
You can't read fast enough. There's always a pause button. To be fair, the messages are that they should be on the screen for a little bit longer this time. The other way to do it is each of the drivers were asked to keep it short.
Yeah.
How many of them did? We'll see how they are this week. The next track, Alsace Village. Now, if you don't know which one that is, James, that's the one with that big, massive banked right-hander. The fast one.
I love that one.
But
can't wait.
Turn 1, tight corner. Turn 3, tight corner. Turn 5, tight corner. There's a few times, the last section. It's not a simple track. To be fair, in these cars, it's a brilliant track. But again, it will be those slower corners where time's going to be gained.
Especially the final sector of there. That car, especially because it's downhill, if you don't get your braking right, that could be absolute carnage in them final few corners.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll have to see how things are going to go. And obviously, last week was announced the what car will be used in the next championship, being the Toyota Supra RZ97. And to be fair, everyone who has driven it so far seems to enjoy it. It is a nice car to drive, and that is, I mean, it's one of the reasons why it has been picked, as well as all the other reasons that I mentioned last week. We won't holler on that too much, but I will mention that obviously today's race, James, has surely going to have completely turned the standings pretty much on its head to a degree. Because as you mentioned, SGP, poor last week, wins this week. Dave the Arp wins last week, mid-pack this week. Steve F1 was what, top 3 or 4 last week, now he's 12th this week.
Yeah, I think he finished 4th last week at Monza.
Yeah. Jason couldn't race last week, finishes 3rd this week. Mitch could have had a great result last week and this week was unfortunate. Annoyingly for everyone, I could see this being a championship where Demon R never wins a race but finishes 2nd every race and wins the championship.
Yeah, he does a Rosberg.
Yeah.
Not a Nico Rosberg.
A Keke.
Rosberg.
Yeah. Wins by not winning. But yeah. Okay, in a few moments' time we will get on to looking at the confirmed race results. I do know there were a few things reported. Some people may have been naughty.
Well, we saw Mando getting all out of shape, whacking people left, right and centre, so I'm not surprised if he'll be getting a slap on the wrist.
Oh, it's not a slap on the wrist. I've got handcuffs ready, mate.
For Christ.
Yeah. But no, we'll have to see. I mean, one of the things. I mean, if we talk a little bit about the penalties, I mean, as people are now aware that this championship is a test for faster cars. Now, it doesn't mean that any of the bumping and grinding we've seen so far is going to be enough to go, oh no, we can't go to faster cars. But sometimes things do happen, and sometimes, I mean, for example, I'm pretty certain that Mandalorian didn't even know that he'd put Dave the Arp into the pits.
No, not until after the race.
Exactly. So sometimes things can happen that you just simply don't know about. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be held accountable for what you did, even if you didn't know you did it, because unfortunately that's the way it goes sometimes. But what I would say is that, I mean, something that I noticed with this car is it's definitely a much sharper car than most we've ever used. So when you go to steer, I mean, I was thinking about an analogy for it, right? This car is fast, which means you don't have to be. Right? Yeah. You don't have to be steering quickly, throttling quickly, braking quickly. You can do all that nice and slow because the car's fast. It'll do all the speed for you, and I think that's something that might catch some people out at times, where they may end up taking too much of an apex because they've gone to steer and they've steered too quick, too much, and it could also be why some people are finding the car a little bit slidey on occasion. But we've got a fair few races still to go to see how drivers get on with this car and the remainder of the circuits. But yeah, as I mentioned, Alsace Village will be the next race. That usually does throw up a bit of drama, does that one. We'll have to see how we get on in these cars around there. Okay, James, thank you for joining me on commentary today.
No problem, it were a pleasure.
Yep, no worries, and we'll send our condolences to the cutlery factory.
To the what?
Cutlery factory.
The what?
With a spoon. No, yeah. By the way, Steve made me tell you that joke.
But she won't stab to death.
No. She's alive. No, it's just a joke.
She's that celebrity that went, "Do you know who I am?" when she got pulled over for a speeding ticket.
Oh, did she? I'd have said, no, I don't, but have you seen those videos they do on a certain website? No.
I'd have said, no, but bloody hell, your chin's going to cut through that glass, love.
I don't know. I like Reese Witherspoon. She's lovely.
She's got a big chin, hasn't she?
She's lovely. I think she's
like
lovely.
Dagger.
She's lovely. I'll say nothing. Right, I'll see you in a bit. Have a good one, everybody. We'll check out the confirmed race results and what that result has done to the championship standings. Here we are then for confirmation of the race result. Now, there were a few reports placed, however information about those can be found on the DGT League's Facebook page. Okay, so SGP taking the victory ahead of Demon R in second place. That's SGP's first win of the season, Demon R's second of the season. Jason, a brilliant result to finish in third, just ahead of Mandalorian, who was just ahead of Mitch. Twilight with a great result, finishing in 6th ahead of Tyler in 7th, Dave the Harp in 8th, he'll be frustrated with that one, Bunsell in 9th and SRI in 10th. Rich Blues finished in 11th ahead of Steve F1. Gotta say, an absolute disaster for Steve F1 here today. Groover finishes in 13th place, Jimmy in 14th place, and Formula Gary finished in the pits but still finished ahead of Fluffy Planet, and unfortunately Fluffy Planet is the first to not score a point after finishing a race. He's not even on a minus. I think it might actually be the first time somebody has scored 0, exactly 0, so that's something to celebrate, Fluffy. Anyway, a brilliant race there from all of these guys, and with SGP taking that victory, he's definitely going to have spiced things up in the championship standings, so let's see how they're looking now. Demon R is back where he likes to be, top of the championship standings on 34 points, ahead of both Dave the Harp and Mandalorian, who are joint second place on 28 points each. Dave the Harp ahead though, because he has had a win in this championship. SGP, with his win today, means he jumps all the way up to 4th place, and only 2 behind Mandalorian and Dave the Harp. He is definitely right back in it. Tyler is in 5th place on 20 points, while Twilight is only 2 points behind him in 6th place. Steve F1 will not be wanting to see this. He is down in 7th place on 17 points. Nearly, or pretty much, half the points of the championship leader at the moment. He will be frustrated with that. Mitch will also be frustrated to be down in 8th place on 15 points, but I'm sure he won't mind being joined there by Jason, also on 15. Bunsell sitting in 10th place on 14 points, no arguments there for him, while Fluffy Planet will be frustrated with 11th on 10 points. Rich Blues is ahead of his rivals for this championship so far, sitting in 12th place on 8 points. Groover in 13th on 7. Formula Gary and DGT League SRI joint 14th on 6 points each. And then we have Conrad, who is a reserve this season, joint 16th with Jimmy, who has just completed his first race of the championship. Okay, that result has definitely mixed things up a lot. The question is Demon R going to be the next one to falter? If he is, this championship could become absolutely wide open. The next race is going to be from the Alsace village. It's a tough track where if you touch a curb, the chances are it's going to spin you around, and it's no fun when that happens. Either way, there's only going to be one way to find out what is going to happen, and that's to come and check out the Dynamic GT League's YouTube channel and the race footage for round 3 of the Xanassin Trophy. Have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you all again soon.